In these next videos, you will see how I selected a few exercises that will help you build up strength and build the general foundation of your body to a place where it won't be as vulnerable as it is now. Whether on yourself or someone you're helping, these exercises will really help you build strength in the supporting system of your shin bone, the shin bone area, and the calf muscles. As someone who has faced injuries in the calves, they're not nice, not comfortable to go through, and very restrictive in your day-to-day life as well. As you can imagine, every time we take a step, we're really using force in our calf muscles, and also around all the muscles that surround the shin bone. If you're a runner or someone that walks a lot, you've definitely felt shin splints, and these exercises are ones that can help you either deal with those shin splints or potentially avoid even getting them to begin with. So again, we want to support our shins. We want to support them by strengthening the area around them. Strengthening the calves will also tremendously help supporting your shins, and then your vulnerability will decrease and your chances of feeling pain will decrease. And more than that, by having that bulletproof element to that area of your body, you're really improving the foundation of your entire body. When challenging yourself and trying to perform other exercises, you will feel more stable and you will feel more powerful from the ground up. So watch the videos, stick around till the end. You will enjoy them and you will learn a lot. If you have, then please subscribe to our channel so that you can get notified the next time we post videos that will make you stronger and less vulnerable. Our first exercise that we're going to be performing here is the standing calf raise, a real strengthening exercise for our lower body. Really, any muscle that's below the knee all the way to the ground, to your toes, will be involved and engaged in this exercise. The standing calf raise can really be done without any elevation, but for the purpose of this, and as the textbook wants us to demonstrate this exercise, we'll need a step. This could be done on any staircase, anything that provides you with elevation, because we'll actually be starting this, the starting position will be at a elevated position, because we're going to utilize that elevation to increase the range of motion of our calf raise. So instead of doing this flat on the ground, where we'll simply get the range of motion that from the ground up, by using the elevation and the step or the stair that you're using, we'll be able to start at a negative, allowing for an increase in that range of motion of the exercise. So to perform this exercise, what we're going to do is, I'm going to stand on this step, but allow my heels to drop towards the ground so that my starting position is in that negative. And then from there, all I'm going to do is push myself up almost onto my toes and slowly bring myself back down, allowing my heels to drop below ground level. And then I'm going to keep doing those reps. Very important to focus here on your balance. Very important to go up slowly and also go back down slowly. It's a fantastic strengthening exercise. Now, two things to consider here. Number one is that you can start this exercise at a more basic level by simply performing this exercise on the ground, and in that case you can push yourself up and push yourself back down, or bring yourself back down before you move on to the step. Once you're on the step and you feel comfortable, you can also add weight, add dumbbells to this exercise, which will increase the difficulty and maybe allow yourself to take yourself to the next level of strength in your calf muscles and your lower body muscles. The other thing to consider here is that if you would like to even take this one step further, you'll see also in the book how this exercise is performed with one leg only. Now, with one leg, it's going to be very difficult to perform this exercise without leaning on something. So please, maybe a leaning on a wall or any object that's comfortable to lean on to give you that foundation and give you that stability and balance. Once you can relax because you know that you're balanced, you can perform this exercise one leg at a time. Again, simply increasing the intensity of the exercise. But back to how I demonstrated it from the front position, I want you to see it from the back as well, how my starting position is allowing almost half my foot on each side to sink deep into that negative position. From that negative position, I'm simply going to focus on bringing myself up to my toes. You can see how my calf muscles are engaged, and slowly bring myself back down to that negative position and perform a few reps that way. Very challenging exercise, especially if you don't have anything to lean on. So I would definitely start my starting position. I recommend your starting position to be with leaning on something for balance, so that you can simply focus on the strength and performing the exercise in the best way possible, focusing on technique before you take it to the next level and focus on challenging yourself and strengthening yourself. But for the specific illustrations and explanations on how to perform the standing calf raise, please head to chapter 15 in the textbook towards the end of the chapter, to page 215, 215 for the illustrations and the explanations. Our next exercise, strengthening exercise, is going to be the single-legged deadlift. The deadlift is a fantastic exercise for strengthening your entire body. For the single-legged deadlift, we're going to focus a lot on balance and stability and technique, which is why it's specific to this chapter, which is all revolves around the shins and the calves. So to demonstrate this, first of all, without dumbbells, and then moving in to using dumbbells, and why I'm emphasizing on dumbbells is because you'll see also in chapter 15, in the explanations and the illustrations, you'll see that the recommended use is with dumbbells, and that's because it will apply extra pressure and extra difficulty on the lower part of your legs, on your calves, on your shins, when you're trying to stabilize yourself. So the way the single-legged RDL should look like without the dumbbells will be something like this. So we're gonna, first of all, have a stabilizing leg and a leg that's in the air. For every rep, feel free at the end of every rep to place your leg that's in the air back on the ground to find your footing, find your stability, and then go again. So to demonstrate a rep, it'll look like this. So if you notice that my back leg will be in the air all the time, my ideal goal is to bring my back heel to the same level as my head, and then return to that neutral position. You can see that my back leg was bent, which is fine. If you can perform this exercise with a straight leg, that's going to be excellent as well. But you'll see the illustrations in the textbook advise to keep your knee bent, your leg bent. Same with the stabilizing leg. When focusing on the stabilizing leg, you'll see that I'm bending my knee slightly to allow myself more flexibility while performing the exercise, and also performing it in the best way, the way it's designed to be. So when I'm performing a rep, my knee is slightly bent, both knees now are slightly bent. I'm going to push my heel backwards, try and get to head height level, and then return to that neutral position. Performing this with dumbbells is a bit trickier because you'll have more pressure placed on your lower body. So I'm going to grab both my dumbbells, and I'm going to focus on the technique here. I'm going to focus on keeping my stability and doing this right. So please excuse me if I lose my footing and lose my balance once or twice. So I'm going to start by working on my right leg. So my right leg, the working leg, is the stabilizing leg. I'm going to give it a slight knee bend. Now my left leg is the one that's going to go back. I'm going to hold the dumbbells to the side of my body on either side of my stabilizing leg. That's my focus. And my focus is not necessarily to go all the way to the ground, but just to go to a place where I feel comfortable pushing myself back up. The focus is not necessarily the dumbbells touching the ground. The focus more is to get closer to the ground, and at the same time, the back leg to bring that one up towards the ceiling. Not all the way up towards the ceiling, but focusing on that, so that will allow you to bring your back leg to the height level of your head. And then from that position, return to that neutral position. Another thing to focus on that even I just noticed while performing the rep is your back. You want to try and keep your shoulder blades close together. You do not want your arms to lean forward lazily. Keep your shoulder blades back together and keep your core tucked in and back straight as you're performing this exercise. That's the way to perfect this technique. So hold the dumbbells on either side of the stabilizing leg, bend your knee slightly, back leg goes back towards the ceiling, shoulder blades together, back straight, and return to that neutral position. So that's how you perform the single-legged deadlift. It's a very important exercise that will help strengthen your calves, strengthen your shins, your ankles, your overall foundation and stability. So please refer to chapter 15 in the textbook and to page 215, 215 for the specific illustrations and explanations of this exercise. Our next exercise here is going to be a stretch specific to the lower part of our body, one that's somewhat easy to perform and no objects required. The only thing that's required is your focus and some space to work on and stand on. We're going to be focused on stretching our Achilles tendon, which is such a crucial part of all the lower body. So any problems with the Achilles tendon could potentially cause sports injuries with the shins, with the calves as well. So pay attention here and make sure we can perform this in the best way possible. We're going to do this one leg at a time in a standing position. You want to start in the position that I'm at right now. So make sure your legs are aligned. The only thing that needs to happen is that the Achilles tendon that's going to be stretched first is going to be my left one. That means my left leg is going to go backwards. Once my left leg is backwards, I want to make sure that both my feet are flat on the ground. Both heels are on the ground, both sets of toes are on the ground. Once I'm in this position, the only thing I want to do is focus on bending both my knees forward. My front knee forward towards my toes and my back knee forward towards a yard ahead or towards the end of the mat in front of me. Simply by bending my back knee slightly, immediately there, I can feel all of my Achilles tendon stretching. I can feel some parts of my calf muscles stretching as well. So some of you will just need a slight bend of the knee, but others, to increase the intensity, the only thing you have to visualize and focus on is bringing the back knee as far forward as possible towards the end of the mat. But the front knee does not need to go any further than close enough to the toes, just for that range of motion, and then the intensity of the stretch will be regulated by the back knee. So the back knee now is focusing on heading towards the end of the mat, and I can feel my Achilles tendon stretching on my back leg, on my left leg. I'm going to hold that position. I'm going to make sure my core is tight in. I'm going to make sure that my stabilizing leg is helping me out here. I'm also going to make sure my back leg is intact and in place and stable, because we want if your back leg is not stable and it's moving all over the place, you will not be performing the stretch in the most efficient way. So try and be stable, try and focus, try and breathe. Once you're ready to leave this position, the only thing you have to do is first, I would straighten out the front knee, and then as a result, your back knee will straighten out as well. You'll feel the tension relief off your Achilles tendon, off your calf, and then you can simply walk your leg forward and you're back to your standing neutral position. To show you now, just from the other side, the other leg as well. Again, I'm going to start in a standing position, in line. My right leg is going to go back. My left knee is going to bend a bit forward. My right knee will bend a bit forward as well. And I'm focusing on bringing my right knee as far out as possible towards the end of the mat. I'm actually going to bring my left foot a bit closer. There's too much distance between my back leg and my front leg. From this position, I'm going to focus on bringing my left knee towards my toes, right knee again towards the end of the mat, and I can feel my Achilles tendon stretching. Hold that position, make sure you're stable, make sure you can perform this in the best technique possible, in the most efficient way. And once you're ready to relieve yourself from this position, straighten out your front knee, straighten out your back knee, walk your back leg forward, and you're back into that neutral position. So that's how you perform the Achilles stretch. So please refer to page number 215 in chapter 15 for the exact illustrations and explanations of how to perform this stretch and its benefits.